Welcome to today's Local Government Education webinar hosted by the University of Illinois Extension. My name is Susan Odom and I'm an Extension Specialist in Community Economic Development with University of Illinois Extension. Before introducing today's topic and our guests, please know that at any time during today's webinar you can submit questions into the chat space. Also, if you have any problems connecting during the webinar, please add those questions or concerns to the chat space as well. Please also note that participants will receive the program slides and links to resources and to a recording of today's webinar in a follow-up email. I'm going to be turning my video off now as we begin the program. Today's webinar is entitled Illinois CARES Funding Update and will cover new services available to Illinois businesses through the Illinois International Trade Center at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. This webinar is co-hosted by Richland County Development Corporation. Our presenter today is Sylvia Torres Bowman, Director of the Illinois Sbdc International Trade Center at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. We will kick off the webinar with remarks from Courtney Yawkey, the Executive Director of Richland County Development Corporation. Sylvia Torres Bowman spearheads entry into global markets for entrepreneurs as well as small and medium-sized businesses in the Southern Illinois region. She manages a program of export consulting and training in international business planning, marketing, logistics, and trade finance. Ms. Torres Bowman has years of experience in promoting and expanding trade opportunities in Latin America, and has led and participated in trade missions and industry shows both nationally and internationally to promote Southwest Illinois and the St. Louis region as the gateway to the world. Sylvia's career spans the private sector, academia, and public service. She was honored twice with the Governor's Export Award, co-founded the Southwest Illinois Trade and Investment Council, and is an active member and partner of several international trade organizations. Ms. Torres Bowman is highly regarded for her expertise and passion for export business, community engagement, and Latin American trade. She holds an MBA from Webster University and is a certified global business professional. Our co-host today is Courtney Yawkey, and he's a certified professional community and economic developer with 6+ years of experience in consulting with local governments, working one-on-one with private businesses to expand operations and promoting economic development. He has over 10 years of managerial experience and a Master of Business Administration degree from the University of Illinois. The Richland County Development Corporation is a nonprofit public-private partnership organization which has provided more than 30 years of advancement in economic development for Richland County. The Richland County Development Corporation, also known as RCDC, has a rich history in leading industrial and commercial development through attraction and business retention and expansion practices. This time I'm going to be turning the program over to Courtney, who will briefly talk about the RCDC and the Southern region, and he will then turn it over to our presenter, Sylvia Torres Bowman. Again, please feel free to type questions into the chat space, and we will have a brief Q&A session at the end of today's presentation. Courtney, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Susan, and thank you for having me today. For RCDC, a little more is we primarily work on two sides of the spectrum. One, we work with business retention and expansion and working with our local businesses and trying to anchor them to the area and then trying to encourage them to grow. And hopefully that growth results in additional employment opportunities. Then on the other side of the spectrum, we try to recruit additional commercial, industrial businesses or just various opportunities to Richland County and the surrounding area. As an educational avenue for the local business community, we host business workshops. These are primarily on a quarterly basis. We started discussions on hosting Sylvia at the end of last year for a luncheon during the first quarter of this year. But unfortunately, everything turned upside down and that luncheon was postponed. But as we are working towards this luncheon, we started introducing Sylvia to local companies in Richland County. She always maintained a sense of professionalism and definitely added value to the conversation. I'm very happy to partner with U of I Extension today and hosting Sylvia in this virtual workshop. And as a quick lead in for you, and I'll try not to steal your thunder, in looking at the global trade, and as reported by the Wall Street Journal last week, global trade is rebounding much quicker this year than it did back in the 2018 financial crisis. But trade still remains below pre-pandemic levels and could play a bigger role than anticipated in the world's economic recovery. And with that, I give the reins to you, Sylvia.
Thank you, Courtney. My appreciation to you, to Nancy, to Susan, to the University of Illinois Extension, for inviting me to be part of this program. As Courtney indicated, we were going to do it in person. I love in-person meetings, but for the time being, we're going to make use of this wonderful technology that is available, been made available to you, and I'd like to also talk about that so you can help us spread the word to other businesses, because technology, it's helping us open more doors, if you will, internationally. Thank you all for joining us this morning. I hope you and your families, your staff are doing well during these very challenging times. The COVID-19 pandemic represents an unprecedented disruption to the global economy and world trade in general. Production and consumption are being scaled back all around the world, not just the US. Small businesses who depend on foreign customers to flourish need help to survive and continue to be profitable during these trying times. And those small businesses that are not currently dealing with foreign customers, I hope this is one more opportunity for them to consider exporting, consider just being open to this possibility as another way to help them survive and flourish. I'm going to move this slide. And so I do represent, as Susan pointed out, I direct the Illinois Sbdc International Trade Center at Southern Illinois University in Edwardsville. I've been there since 1998. It's been that long, and helping small businesses mainly in the southern region to become exporters or more successful exporters, helping them open more doors internationally. I wanted to also talk about the network. I'll be talking in the next few slides about the network I represent, that is composed by small business development centers and international trade centers and procurement technical assistance centers. So it's a very solid network that has been in existence since the mid-'80s. So needless to say, the tremendous support that we have gotten through our network and our host institutions, in my case, Southern Illinois University at Edwardsville, it's important to underline and support. I wanted to kind of start by sharing some positive news. I just read this article from the Wall Street Journal over the weekend, and it really shows that small businesses are growing. New businesses are coming up and are growing at even at the fastest rate, as you can see from the slide, in more than a decade. And so that's many reasons, different reasons for that. They are growing. I've been hearing from my counterparts in other small business development centers around the state that they've been busy. They've been busy with startups, new businesses coming up on the radar. And for many people, these trying times, really are encouraging them to try on new things, new identities, and really creating new lives. And so that's part of the reason why we're seeing this. On the export front, I wanted to show you and share a testimonial from a longtime client of ours, Craig Eversman, who is the president and CEO of MSSC in Collinsville. And you can read his quote. He expresses all the benefits for having worked over the years with our network, particularly with our center and the Illinois Office of Trade as well. And also his participation in the Southwest Illinois Trade and Investment Council that I'll talk a little bit more down a few more slides. He has made use of the funds that I'm going to talk about later. And he's been very, very supportive of all the efforts and also the results. They started very small. They have between 30, 35 employees. And over the years, they just participated with us. We traveled actually before the pandemic. We traveled to South America last March to locate their last two distributors. Currently, the last one on their list so far in South America, in Peru and Chile. And with those two, adding those two distributors that they just added to the list, they are reporting 57 countries that they export as of 2019. So that proves to you the size, how small you are. It doesn't really keep you from the possibilities of selling abroad and being successful at it. This article comes from 7 days ago. Wall Street Journal, trade is returning, comparing it with the volumes from 2008 in the financial crisis. And as you can tell, it's coming back. Why? Because export orders are coming back in parts of the world. In some more faster than in the U.S., but they're coming back. And you can just kind of take a look at the breakdown of the countries there. And that indicator, the number 50, shows you that's the index that indicates how export orders have increased in August from July. And you see the increases in several of those countries there. And that's why I wanted to start by sharing with you what I, on my own, share with also businesses, why considering going global, and for the current exporters, kind of reinforcing what they have been doing already, selling their products and services. One, the increase of the overall sales and profits. You expand, obviously, your sales. And you become less dependent on one single market. You broaden your customer base. Let's remember that between 95 and 96% of the world's customers are located outside U.S. borders. So that's a very important fact, and many of us just don't really think about it, and that's a possibility. You add the life of your current products. There's several instances of clients of mine that during our first meeting, they say, but I do have a product that might be obsolete for other markets. Well, not necessarily. And there have been cases in which they had to, or they were planning on upgrading their product, embarking on very costly expenses to doing so, that just by looking at other markets, they stopped considering that option, that very expensive option, and they started exporting the same product to other markets that were still very welcoming of that specific product. As we all know, the internet, also trade agreements and more financing options have also increased the possibility of selling to other markets. Also, data shows that export sales represent faster profits, more jobs created, and also that employees tend to earn more money than non-exporting firms. Also, the reputation of U.S. and their products and services are highly regarded everywhere around the world. Good quality goods and services, good customer service, sound business practices. It has been always the case, and cost in many cases doesn't is not the ultimate factor. Importers are looking for good quality products. I wanted to also show you a little update in terms of what happened in 2019 in our state, in Illinois, in terms of the top exporting industries. And as you can see from the slide, 59.2, almost $60 billion in exports were exported from our state. Industrial machinery being on top, it has been on top, the top industry in terms of exports, representing 18% of all exports come from industrial machinery. Those are the top markets, top export destinations for Illinois products in 2019, last year. And Canada and Mexico, one more year, one more time being the top destinations. 41% of all exports have both those two destinations, Canada and Mexico, our neighboring countries. A few more highlights with close to $60 billion. Illinois ranks as number 6 in the nation. So we're very, very strong in terms of our products and services being exported. And let's keep that number, 90%, also in mind. 90% of Illinois exporters are small businesses. That's so important, and that proves why, the first slide, why so many small businesses are really showing up again. They're starting up despite of the pandemic. Shipments, products from Illinois were sent to 216 countries. That's a very active state. Also, it's important to share the role of manufacturers in Illinois exports. 93.74, almost 94% of all goods exported were manufactured, result of Illinois manufacturing activity. In terms of our network, the network that I represent, as I said, I direct the International Trade Center at SIUE, Illinois Sbdc ITC, and we are part of a network of 9 international trade centers throughout the state. And we work also very closely with the Illinois Office of Trade and Investment, which is headquartered in Chicago, and they do oversee manage 6 offices in 6 countries. That I'll show you the destinations of those offices too. With the main goal, our main goal is the promotion of Illinois exports to help and support small businesses, not only the current exporters, but also make it available, those services to small businesses so they can consider exports as another way of for their own company. Those are the locations. I understand there are participants from other parts of the state watching us, listening to us. So there are other locations, and my counterparts are located in other parts of the state, ready to help and doing the very similar work that I'm doing in terms of assisting small businesses all around the state. In terms of funding, our services are available to small businesses at no cost. Why? Because they are being paid by your tax dollars. The funding comes from the U.S. Small Business Administration, channeled through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCEO. And in my case, as I mentioned, the School of Business at SIUE. And everything, as I said, all our resources and consulting services are available to you at no cost, thankfully. And thank you to all the support that we have receiving over the years from our funding agency. Those are just some of the areas that we provide assistance and share information with all our clients, small businesses, from determining how ready they are in terms of exports, how export ready they are, and if not, getting them ready, helping them with their export plans, with determining what regulations they have to comply for their products to enter a specific market, making them available programs for export finance, some from SBA, Small Business Administration, some others from the Exim Bank, and some were through banks around the nation. Market research. The added benefit of being at a university is the opportunity that we have, that I have, in terms of working with faculty and students. And we've been doing that over the years in terms of putting together projects, in-depth projects to clients. And I'll illustrate that in the next two slides. And I'll show it to you now. This is one example. In fact, Craig Eversman, it's shown on the top picture, showing this touring around their facilities, their plans to these two students from SIUE. They were exchange students from Italy. And just to illustrate with this example, Craig had a very challenging time trying to identify good distributors for the Italian market. He spent years trying to do that. Well, I connected him with these two students who spent the whole summer, a couple of summers ago, spending time with them. And they put together a plan, an actual list of potential distributors, pre-screen distributors, prospects for Craig to connect. And they not only did that, but they also briefed them in terms of how to do business in Italy, from business etiquette to how to negotiate with Italians, which turns out it was very different than negotiating in the U.S. And so it was a very, very positive experience, and that illustrates just one example on how we can connect faculty and students with the business community. And this is another example. This was pre-pandemic times, and we were already using video technology for that. And so we work with Smart Controls, a company from Fairview Heights, in which, again, this particular course was called Competing in Emerging Markets. So the target was only countries in emerging markets. And you see from the slide, one of the recommendations from this group of students, mostly they were MBA students, that they recommended this company to enter the Mexican market based on the product, based on different conditions, on their criteria. So it was a very positive experience overall, and they continue to be. And I continue inviting small businesses to sign up for this international research project that we hold every year. In terms of our clients, as I share with you, I cover mostly the southern region of the state. And this is a little illustration of the makeup of our clients. And as you can see, almost 70% of our clients have less than 50 employees, which it's considered much smaller than the standard small and medium-sized business guidelines from the Small Business Administration, which is less than 500 employees. So in terms of the countries, the number of countries that they are involved, you can tell from these numbers that only 8% export to more than 20 countries. Craig is one of in that category of 8%. But that's why we, our network, really spend most of our time to really work with all our clients to facilitate and open more doors to more countries, so they can all be part of this 8% rank of exporting to more than 20 countries. This slide shows only some of the partnerships that we have from the federal group, the state, and also the private sector. We work with so many of them. We have been working with so many of them over the years. And now with this new funding that we just have access to, we're going to extend much more and being able to add more partners from other parts of the world, including on this list. Those are the locations of the 6 offices for the state of Illinois available to you. And please keep these offices in mind, not only as businesses and organizations, but also as Illinois residents. They can be your best advocates, your most dedicated helpers in cases of need. We have had students in the past from study abroad courses that run into problems, and we connected them with the directors of our offices. And again, the experience has always been very, very positive in every case. Those are some of the services that are available to our clients and small businesses in general, and from our 6 foreign offices. And by the way, the exact locations for these offices, you can find them on our website. And the last slide will show you our website, and you're more than welcome to visit. And one of the links will point you into the exact contact information and exact addresses for those offices. These offices, we work with them mostly on trade missions, trade shows that before pandemic times, they were quite active because people were traveling. There were shows, there were missions. These are times in which everything or most is being put on hold, but we hope to continue working with them and continue taking companies through missions and through their participation in trade shows. We also put together workshops, seminars, conferences in general. Again, those photos, pre-pandemic times. Now we're doing, again, using technology. We're now doing this virtually for now, for the time being, and maybe we're going to continue doing that just because of the accessibility of reaching out more people all around our state. Let's see. Sharing with you the economic impact and the accomplishments last year from the center I direct. A little over $39 million in export sales assisted, and those dollars were reported from clients of ours. As a result of our assistance, they were able to report sales in that amount, over a little over $39 million in 2019. So we're very, very proud of that accomplishment and continue supporting our companies and clients over the years. We held hands with clients, helping them with their participation in trade shows and missions, as I indicated, the one in South America that we actually traveled with them last year, and the international business research projects that I talked about. Now, in terms of funding, and this is the section I really want to carefully share with you and make you all aware of these funds available to you and for you to help us spread the word as well. This is the ISTEP. That's one type of funding that we've been promoting. They just celebrated 10 years. 10 years. I can't believe it's been 10 years that the ISTEP started as a 3-year pilot program as part of the Small Business Jobs Act. And the main goal of the ISTEP was and still is to make more small businesses, encourage more small businesses to travel, to go outside, to with our assistance connect with not only customers and users, it could be distributors, it could be partners in general from all over the world. And we've been doing that for 10 years. And there are different categories. There are four main categories that I'll explain in the next slide. And one of them is the group trade missions. But I'm going to point out to the top red lettering that you see there, which because of the pandemic, ISTEP funds have now been made available to attend virtual trade shows. This is very important because, as you all know, because of the pandemic, no traveling, and so or very limited traveling. So trade shows, a good number of trade shows have been canceled or postponed. However, some other number of trade shows have been turned into a virtual virtual aspect, virtual trade shows, and ISTEP funds are now available, being made available to small businesses to attend those shows, domestically or internationally. The domestic shows, as long as the domestic show can be justified as a show with international participation. That could be also a way for small businesses to become eligible for ISTEP funding. There is a limit of up to $7,500 to be able to get reimbursed for costs related to their participation in virtual trade shows. I'm going to usually, pre-pandemic times, this is a normal category, group trade missions. So the state office, the Illinois Trade Office, puts together usually on average between 10 and 12 missions per year. And those are the lines of support that they provide for companies participating in group trade missions, book space, matchmaking, travel logistics, market briefing. So this will continue once travel restrictions are lifted and companies will be able to participate in those group trade missions. And the level of reimbursement there is up to $5,000 for 2 company representatives. The second category is the individual foreign market sales missions, and that's the category that I've been using most often with my clients. They design their own agenda, their own itinerary. In most cases, they want to meet new customers. They want to meet prospective distributors, and so they design their client, their countries that they want to visit. And in some cases, when they're not sure, that's when we also walk with them and work with them very closely to determine what these countries might be good possibilities for them. In fact, right now, I'm just working with a couple of companies in that stage that they need our help to help them determine from all the countries around the world, which ones are the ones that represent the highest potential for their products and their business goals. And so once we determine that, then we'll go to the next stage, which we are with one company in which we are connecting this client with consulting firms from different parts of the world via Zoom. And now they're narrowing down the countries that they like to be connected virtually for the time being. And they're finishing up the ISTEP application for the first time. So very, very excited about that. And this company just didn't do any exports at all. The other, just one country for a good number of years, and not really comfortable at the beginning with virtual connections. But we proved them that we can connect as well virtually. Well, never in person. It's going to match an in-person one-on-one meeting, but close enough just to get that that initial contact with them, getting to know them, each other, and who knows, they might be ready for closing an agreement virtually or waiting until travel restrictions are lifted and they can actually travel and meet with them in person and visit their facilities. In terms of money available, up to $7,500 for one company representative, and those are some of the costs that can may become eligible. Lodging, airfare, if you travel, of course, and trade show participation registration. For virtual trade shows, there are costs involved in registration, in having possibly a virtual booth space, and also matchmaking. And this is the one of the most popular and most used categories, the matchmaking part. In other words, either through our Illinois offices abroad or third parties like consulting firms, chambers. We work with them for a number of weeks, and they put together this list of prospects on behalf of the client with their feedback, their regular feedback. And they talk about the criteria, the profile, and once they come up with the list, the initial connections take place and the conversations, and so all of that represents a cost, and that cost can be part of this reimbursement. So the way it works, the company applies for ISTEP. They fill out an application, and depending on what kind of company that is, they'll get different percentages of reimbursement, from 25 up to 75% reimbursement. If it's a women-owned business, a minority-owned business, a veteran-owned business, a business located in a rural area in our state, they can get up to 75% reimbursement, not to exceed $7,500 for this category. And so the opportunity it's there. And Craig is one example of how he has used this the ISTEP funds. His company joined me in the trade mission to South America last March. We traveled to Chile and Peru. They made use of this category. They applied for this category. They applied for reimbursement, and they were able to. We traveled to Chile and Peru. He was able to find 2 distributors added to their long list of 57 countries, and so they take care of the costs up front, and upon their return, they turn on the receipts. They provide feedback how the trip went, and they can get reimbursed. I think the reimbursement usually takes place between 2 and 3 weeks. They get reimbursed for the eligible expenses. So it worked very, very well with them. Just a few pictures to illustrate that. And the picture of the top left, that's MSSC, that's Craig's company. They also participated in the trade show Expo Pack in Mexico that the state of Illinois offered as one of the group trade missions last year, and they participated, I believe it was June of last year in Mexico. And the other pictures are from our visit to South America in March of last year. We're in Chile and in Peru. So very, very positive experience overall. The other 2 categories as part of the ISTEP funding is product certification that involves if your product needs to some sort of some certification, some approvals, mostly government related approvals to get entry into a specific market, and that of course involve a cost. This category might be for you. There is a 50% cost reimbursement up to $6,000, and those numbers, that the dollar amounts were just increased in the last few weeks, so we're very, very happy about that. Craig, going back to my the example of Craig Eversman at MSSC, they recently applied for product certification, and they applied for ISTEP funding so they can recertify their product, one of their products, to the new UL safety specification effective this year. So that certification will allow them to enter the European market with that particular product. So they have applied for that. They have also applied for this other category, website localization, that, as you can see from the slide, it can involve website translation services, region-focused search engine optimization, making your website looking local in a foreign market. Craig from MSSC again shares that they have received funding through this category, through the ISTEP, to revamp their website. That's what they are working on, and I think they're in the finishing stages as we speak. And the purpose, the ultimate goal, is to create a UK website which will make their company appear local to the UK market. And so this UK hosted website will be a first for our client, and will allow them to expand this concept into other foreign markets. And they have Latin America, I believe, as next target for this website localization efforts. There is a 50% cost reimbursement up to $6,000 too, and that level has been increased. Well, again, very happy about that. Those are the requirements to become eligible for ISTEP funding. I'll be happy to be connected one-on-one with you to go over these eligibility requirements and the application process again. In Craig's case, they have applied, I lost count, really. I lost count of the number of applications that they have submitted. It's been tremendous, and other clients have done as well. Some, they are regular trade show participants, so they have applied several times for ISTEP. Each year, you are eligible to apply for up to two countries, two travels, if you will. In this case, will be two virtual probably, or maybe one virtual and one in person if travel restrictions are lifted later in the year, next fiscal year I'm talking about. We're just starting our new fiscal year. And so there will be brand new year in which you can apply for up to two countries. So technically you can apply up to two countries, one product certification, and the website localization, all within one fiscal year. And so just think of it, of all the money that is available for you and your business. The other funding, the newest funding that I wanted to talk to you about today is the CARES Act COVID-19 supplemental funding we have received. And we, meaning all our Illinois Sbdc network, with the ultimate goal of build small business relief programs with our own regions, communities, to help our clients, small businesses in general that are affected by the pandemic, that they can receive the need or the support that they really need. And so this is the time in which we need to hear from the business community, or for you to help me spread the word and invite businesses to get in contact with us to let us know what their needs are. The initiatives that are shown on this slide are for the Southern Illinois region. Those are the initiatives that our center has started implementing, but that doesn't mean that we can add more, maybe add more programs of more initiatives or different type of consulting needed. It's totally up to our businesses to tell us exactly what their needs are. Some of the initiatives that are on the slide, we are, and that has happened in all the Sbdcs, all the network of Sbdcs and ITCs in the state. We have been able to increase our advising capacity. We have established new partnerships and make that consulting available, more customized to our clients. We have embarked into more in-depth market research, again, pulling resources from partners around the world, and supply chain and logistics. So that's another area that we have been able to open up to our clients. Some of them have have been challenged by the coronavirus with distribution, shipments, etc. So we have a couple of consultants that are helping them with those needs. We are getting ready to start preparing for a series. We call it Go Global series, in which we're going to focus on preparing small businesses, not only to become export ready, but the ones who are currently exporting, becoming more familiar and getting all the knowledge they need to become more empowered exporters. And that's a series that we're going to start working on, and possibly we'll get that started virtually. But our ultimate goal is to be able to meet one-on-one and have a small group of businesses. We are not going to work with a large number, and just to work very close with them and again empower them as successful exporters. Our special focus is, as I mentioned earlier, minorities, women, persons with disabilities, veterans, rural. So I've been trying, and we're getting additional help to help us reach out, to make phone calls, to email, to use social media to spread the word and for these type of businesses and to kind of being able to know that there is assistance for them. And that's one of the areas that we're very much focusing on this year. Virtual matchmaking services, I talked about that. We'll continue using technology in order to do that. Virtual trade missions, we are now, we have started already preparations to have our first virtual trade mission to South America. We're going to use a couple of consulting firms in the region, in the South American region, that are going to help us. This will be a first for us, but not for them. They've been doing virtual trade missions for a long, long time, so they're very experienced doing that, and pretty much will replicate what happens in person, trying to do it virtually. Not identically, but at least close enough to so that the objectives can be met. And the ultimate goal, again, is for our businesses to being able to add more sales, more customers, more distributors. And we're going to use, again, technology to do that. We're going to also have the development of an online business directory. And we're going to call it Export Southern Illinois. And the challenge for us have been over the years that, you know, offices, the Illinois offices abroad, or organizations in general, international organizations, they are the first point of contact when an importer from a different country or an investor, again, a foreign investor, reaches out to them and say, well, I'm looking for suppliers of this kind of product. Can you help me? And so this directory can help to also be put us on the map, put you on the map. And when those calls and or visits from these importers, foreign importers or investors, Southern Illinois can be also on the list of companies that they're going to consider. So this directory will have, we're going to start with 30 businesses, 30 exporting businesses with their websites, their products, description, how to get in touch with them. And eventually we'll have other resources available that highlight our region as a region to consider, and not to just overlook, you know, but knowing that there is a strong number of businesses, manufacturing businesses ready to sell over abroad. Some translation projects too, we have started with one, and we are also using translation companies, and translation can be key, can be crucial to sell to other countries, not only through their websites, but also their marketing materials, data sheets, videos, etc. So we are going to channel some of these funds for that purpose too, and make them available to businesses. But what are your needs? That's what we really I'm mostly interested in hearing your needs. What exactly you need right now, next week, next month, and how we can make these funds available to you for that purpose. So I welcome every call and email to tell me exactly what those needs are, and so we can start a conversation on that. These are just going to be pictures I'm going to go through very quickly in the interest of time, just to illustrate what we've been doing over the years with trade missions, with becoming ambassadors, because each trade mission also makes us ambassadors of our state, our organizations, of course, our regions. And that's what we're trying to do. And that's what we did exactly in South America. We presented, in my case, Southwest Illinois, Southern Illinois to the world, and they were very impressed. Proof of that, well, we show some of the main players of the state and our region in Southwest Illinois. And proof of that is that as a result of our visit in March, there was a delegation of Peruvian businesses and partners from the American Chamber of Commerce in Peru that they were going to visit us this year. And unfortunately, COVID put plans on hold, but we are continuing conversations virtually, which is amazing. We're trying to continue and nurturing that relationship. So again, when travel restrictions are lifted, we can pick up where we left off and plan again their visit to Southern Illinois. Some of our clients making news is a progressive recovery in Dupo, Severn in Collinsville, Mullen in Greenville, Smart Controls in Fairview Heights, receiving governor's proclamations. Very proud of them. And also to talk about briefly about the Southwestern Illinois Trade and Investment Councils. In 2015, we decided that we need a strategic initiative and basically to better equip companies in the southern region to with the resources that they need to make exporting their products a reality, or to expand even more their current options. And that's what we're doing. We're growing each year. We're very excited about that. The council is composed by small businesses, exporting businesses, by service providers, by trade organizations, and led by the counties of Madison, St. Clair, and Monroe, but we hope to continue expanding into other counties in Southern Illinois. And so we have quarterly meetings, and some of the initiatives that we're planning on, we're definitely going to work with the Trade Council to make that a reality. And we have been bringing visitors from different parts of the world. We had this couple of years ago, the commissioners. The photo on the bottom right, it's Ricardo Perez from Lima, Peru, who came last December. He made a presentation, and we have signed an agreement between our center, the International Trade Center, and the Center of Competitiveness at the University of Lima in Peru, one of the top universities in Peru. And so again, because of COVID, plans have been put on hold, but we hope to continue and pick up where we left off. We are looking forward to working with you, not only the International Trade Center at SIUE, but also my counterparts in other parts of the state, the Small Business Development Network, ready to support whatever plans you have or whatever questions you may have on how ready you are, in my case, for exports. We can certainly, I'm open to the conversation, and I hope each one of you help me spread the word and talk about the endless possibilities that there are in terms of knowledge, resources, not only in people, but also, and most importantly, funds right now that they're available to small businesses around the state. That's our website. I encourage you to visit us. And as I said earlier, the locations of our Illinois offices are on the left bar once you get into our website, and you see the exact locations of the Illinois offices abroad, but also the other international trade centers around the state as well. That's my contact information. And again, thank you for the opportunity, Courtney, for introducing me, Nancy, Susan, for inviting me to be part of this exciting program. Thank you. And I'll turn it over to you, I believe, Susan.
Yes, thank you so much, Sylvia. We do have some time remaining in our hour for some questions. I will be asking Sylvia the questions that you've posted in the chat box. So in the meantime, feel free to continue to post any questions that come to mind in the chat. If for some reason we do run out of time, or you need to leave, or we don't get your specific question answered, I will post, Sylvia's posted her email and contact information there for you, so you will have that available to you. So Sylvia, once again, we did have some questions that came through the chat. The first question kind of relates to the benefits of utilizing the expertise of the International Trade Center. And the question is, what statistics do you have about the proportion of business success or failure of your Sbdc clients compared to the population of businesses at large that are not Sbdc clients?
The specifics of my own center, I can safely say that 70% of the businesses that we have been counseling over the years, have switched from the categories of, exporting from 5 countries to more than 20 countries. And so once they learn how to have access to the resources available, and in this case, in recent years, to the funding, it was, when I talk about these applicants, businesses that reapply each year, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And what I see, the surveys, the annual surveys that we receive from them year after year, and I can compare, and it's so good. And I think when people say to me, "You've been there that long," and I say, "Yes, I've been with the network that long," and it's because the moment when I get those annual surveys from our businesses, and I compare, because some of them I have started since day one, since I started working with the network, to current times, and I compare the first annual survey with the latest annual survey, and I see the growth in terms of countries that they export, and also the profit, the growth, the jobs created and retained. I can safely say that it's the majority of businesses. And I think the key for them is, for the businesses, just to keep their options open. And sometimes that's the most challenging part of it. And it takes time, it takes nurturing. It takes just a little, little by little, communicating with them and sharing success stories. And we had a virtual roundtable last week in which I invited Craig, and that's going to grow each month, in which businesses can hear from their peers directly, not from me, but from their peers, about what's been happening with them when they used to export to 1 or 2 countries, and now, like in Fred's case, 57 countries.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia. Okay, we did have another question, was kind of related to connections. The question is, what private sector resources do you seek to help accomplish your SBDC objectives?
Now, currently, because again, it all depends on what the needs that we're hearing from businesses. Um, Currently, it's been based on the focusing on the development of export plans. So right now we have 3 consultants who are helping us to work one-on-one, not in person, but virtually, and in which they help develop their export plan depending on what the business priorities are, what stage of business they are, what they've been doing. So that's one, that's focus one. I also mentioned the supply chain and logistics. That's another one, because of COVID. It still is challenging times for businesses to ship their products. So we're working with LR International as one of the consultants that we are. They have joined this partnership, and they're helping clients to kind of present new options based on this reality now. International finance too is another area, and those are the main ones. And the website too, the website localization. That's another area in which we're partnering with consulting firms. But really, depending on the company's needs, I can mention several consulting firms abroad. There's one in Australia, just to give you an example, that we're waiting for their proposal to a client of ours that we communicated a couple of weeks ago. And they're looking at Australia. They're in the mining sector, so they're looking at Australia as a possible market. So this consulting firm, which is part of the network of Illinois, the state of Illinois network, we had a very nice conversation with them via Zoom to Australia, and now we're waiting for their proposal. Same has happened with Chile, with Colombia, with Peru, with Mexico. We're working with Mexico also in providing this matchmaking. That's an area that it's key for many businesses, because they're trying to find their customers and their distributors. So it's a long list, but it all depends on what their needs are. If I hear totally different areas that their small businesses are needing help, we'll make sure to channel those funds to other partners, locally, statewide, nationwide, around the world. to make that possible and make them available to the business.
Okay, just a few more quick questions. One question is, what do you mean by the term export ready?
Export ready. When they have there's certain areas of the criteria that we go over with when we have these one-on-one conversations with them. We look at their domestic sales, how they're doing, the numbers that they've been selling domestically, their capacity to potentially take care of additional sales from other countries, what about their staffing with some basic knowledge of doing business internationally, what resources do they have. But I think that what I will put on the very top is commitment. How committed this business is to becoming open to this opportunity of dealing with international customers, because there have been cases in which the sales manager is totally ready for it, but we then finding out that top management, the ownership is not quite ready. They're more hesitant, and so we try to determine how committed they are. But then we go to many more areas, several more areas, and in fact, you visit our website, there is a section on export readiness and the line after line of how that's defined, and also each business can kind of check mark each line of that, or I'll be happy to go one-on-one with them too and review it.
Okay, thank you so much. Excuse me there. Okay. We did have a poll question here, and we would like for you to take a few minutes to please respond to the poll by clicking the appropriate choice on your screen. Okay, okay, thank you very much for responding to the poll.
And for the ones who indicated that they have not gotten knowledge, please, by all means, my email address is there, phone number, mostly emails is what I'm taking now, and I'll be more than happy to talk to you one-on-one, which in many cases is much easier to go one-on-one at a much slower pace. So I welcome the opportunity.
Sure. And Sylvia, there was another question related to the ETA on the Export Southern Illinois Business Directory that you mentioned.
We're hoping to have that by at least the initial section of that before the end of this year. We're going to start mid-October, and what the next step is going to be to do the recruitment of these 30 businesses that are going to be highlighted on this initial phase of this. So hopefully before the end of the year, we'll have that, but it'll continue to be growing with more businesses, with more sections available highlighting our region.
Okay, and then we had one last question related to what did you mean by the term of targeted industries? I believe that was when you were talking about the Small Business Jobs Act. That was our last question.
The industries?
Targeted industries. What did you mean by that term?
Not sure about the ISTEP, the Illinois. If they're talking about industries, what I showed at the very beginning was the top industries that Illinois exports are known for, or most of the exports come from those top industries. But when I say, if they're talking targeted industries, the way I might interpret it is in terms of reaching out markets and target markets, it's based on the type of product the company has. So you know, if I have this pen may not have the same demand or the same markets are demanding this pen as opposed to, you know, the China will be demanding, the demand will be different than the demand in Argentina. So, and that's why that the work one-on-one that I have with businesses is very, very important because we have databases. We have a good number, powerful databases. And that's how I started working with the company that I mentioned about doing the Australia virtual matchmaking. Uh, they provided me with a description of their products. They're in mining. And so based on the product, there's a code. There is an HS code that is the harmonized code. It's based on the data from the US Department of Census. So what we do is based on our databases and based on that code that best describes that product, let's say this pen, we show the company all the countries around the world and how they've been importing this pen over the years and the rates of growth. So we did that for this company in mining in Southern Illinois, and they were amazed. They were amazed by what they have found. And based on that initial look at those databases, they come up with 5, 6, 7 countries, initial countries, target countries that we look at. But then we went through more detailed, in-depth type of research of the possibilities for that particular product, their particular mining product on those markets. So now they have narrowed down to 3 countries that they have selected based on all these steps that we have worked together. And so now they are in the process of finishing up their ISTEP application. They will be applying for funds. And then these CARES Act funds also will be channeled to them to different type of work, consulting work. They have started a one-on-one work, analyzing their export plan, and supply chain and logistics will be another area that will be channeling those funds. And I believe the translation work with them. So hopefully I answer that target question, but it's
Okay.
those countries that represent the best potential for their products and specific target industries could be in a specific market that represents, again, the best potential for a particular business. But each business is different, each situation is different. So it will be a matter of connecting one-on-one and determining exactly what the best route of path really is advisable for them.
Okay, and we did receive a message back in the chat that you did answer the question, so Sylvia, so thank you. So on behalf of the Illinois Extension Community and Economic Development Team, I want to thank Courtney for co-hosting and to Sylvia for providing us with an update on new programs available to businesses through the Illinois International Trade Center at Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville. I also want to thank each of you for participating in today's webinar. Once again, you will receive presentation materials and a link to the recording of this webinar in a follow-up email later today. You may also visit our website to register for future webinars or to access recordings of past webinars at go.illinois.edu/LGE. Thank you again to our presenters and thank you all for your interest, and I hope you have a great day.
Thank you.